Recorded. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hi, everybody. This is Angelique Tong from the Superwomen Babes Club with my special guest tonight, Daniel Browne, who is a dear friend of mine. Daniel is somebody I met through the Dr. Joe Dispenza workshops. He was actually introduced to me by a very dear friend of mine, Klaus. And we met each other, and then we did a series of Dr. Joe progressive and also advanced, even advanced follow-up workshops. And we actually always stayed in touch, and we always would like do walking meditations together, and we would meet up and chat about a lot of stuff. And whenever something would happen in my life, Daniel would be like a sounding board to me. And I'm very blessed with a lot of people in my life that, you know, are highly intelligent coaches and healers. And Daniel is just one of those people that has a lot of training in his basically on his CV. And so please, can you introduce yourself, Daniel? What is your background? And there are some people on Facebook Live. Thank you so much, Byron.
Hey. Hello. I can't see any comments, but hello. Okay, so hello. Thanks, Angelique. It's great to be on your show. So my background, so I grew up in London. Went to university here, pretty much stayed here a year in France. So my background, I left university, went and worked in banking and finance. And I was always interested in personal development. Like I had my first experience around 16 when I read The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. I had like a bit of a spiritual awakening, or a little mini glimpse, I would say. And so I did in my spare time quite a lot of coaching. I coached with Landmark initially. And so that was a parallel to my career. And I did a lot of research into metaphysics and spiritual stuff. So there came to a point when I got to a point where I was getting to the point I wanted to start my own business. I'd worked in finance, I'd worked in strategy, a few other things, project management, like stuff around the city essentially. And it got to a point in 2008 where the company I was working for was going bust. So I decided I wanted to work for myself. So I trained as a coach. I worked as a coach for an organization for about a year. And then a friend of mine, Tony Salimi, actually taught me about healing. He did a healing session on me and like improved my shoulder injury. I then did other things like David Hamilton's course. I did quite a lot of things over a period of time, and so that's where I got to where I am today. Did banking, finance, worked in the city for a bit. Always interested in coaching, and became a coach. That's a short story.
Yeah. And the reason, I mean, so you're a coach, and then you actually, on top of that, did the healing stuff, right? And then actually wrote a book as well about energy and burnouts and how we in corporate life sometimes don't actually have a life and become extremely exhausted or almost to the point of burnout. What is it that really intrigued you about Theta healing? Because can you just give us a little bit of the background of how you got involved with it? Because you've done so many types of modalities of healing, just like me probably, and you just actually train with Theta healing. So what was it that really intrigued you? What was different?
Okay. Well, before Theta healing, I'd done the body mirror system of healing, which is kind of like Reiki. But it's a bit more systematic, so you work with the chakras. And I actually done quantum field healing as well. So how I got into Theta was I met a Theta healer. She was actually a friend of mine, or a colleague, and I had a session with her. We had a chat and we had a quick session. Then I would go to her for about over a 2-year period. I'd go every time I got a bit stuck with kind of coaching. So I was as a coach, so I had a coach, but then there'd be times where I was stuck. I didn't feel that coaching would help. So I'd go to her essentially to work on whatever was there. I also met another healer, and he was an amazing healer as well. So like I would be around him and he'd just like put his hand on my shoulder and then my energy would just shift. So I always felt there was something very powerful about it. So then I would have my healing sessions here and there, and then it was when we went to the advanced course in with Dr. Joe, the advanced follow-up. I was meditating and I just had this insight that I was working really hard to meditate to get the meditation, and then this insight came up around worthiness. So I realized I had an issue around worthiness, and I thought, oh, I want to remove this. And because I had done theta healing for a while then, or had a theta healing coach, my pattern was every time like an insight or a block would come up, I would just go and deal with it my theta healing. So that's the relationship I had. So when I decided to work on this issue around worthiness, so we worked through it, and this was like the most powerful session that I had had. So we looked at the source of this worthiness issue. So essentially meant I had a lack of worthiness around love and relationships and wealth, and we were working on it. And then during the session, we realized that actually this belief wasn't from this lifetime. Because I just had this feeling of something was wrong. I felt like an innocent victim or something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I was cursed or something, but I couldn't tell where it came from because it didn't relate to any experience in my life. So then we worked on it and we realized it was ancestral. And then when it cleared, there was just this huge like wave of grief which just came over me, and I just started crying. And I was there for a minute. And I don't usually cry, like it was just very powerful. And then when it shifted, I just had this huge sense of freedom. And like all the karma from my ancestors from slavery had basically been cleared. And after that, I felt a lot freer. So that was the most powerful experience. And then I just had this feeling like, wow, I could do this for so many people that are stuck around the world. And that's what had me do it. I didn't do it for myself, actually. I did it because I really wanted to clear the karma from my ancestors and people of similar backgrounds, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's what got me into it. So is it more about serving than actually doing it for myself?
Yeah. And when you worked with me, we were just chatting about our progress and where we were stuck, because you always use each other as soundboard. I had the feeling that I couldn't trust myself. And that, of course, is a huge issue. If you cannot trust yourself, you cannot make sound decisions. And you actually worked on me, and I was in Amsterdam, you were in England, and we did it over Skype.
Yeah.
And so it actually was my first theta healing ever, and I had no clue what it was. You just gave me some instructions. And what I felt was that there were such a lot of questions, things that I would never think about. You asked me such a depth of questions that I was like, wow, where does that question come from? But my body would just respond. My body gave the answer. So it was after that healing that I thought, wow, how many years would it take me to uncover these hidden blocks? Because I have no
no.
You cannot even think about it themselves, or maybe a lot of meditation or something, but I don't have that much time, right? And so this is when we started speaking again, I said, Daniel, I always wanted to interview you about your book, but I would love to interview you about theta healing. And actually what has happened is, during that session, you explained to me how many types of blocks there are. And there are a lot of people who private message me and ask me, how do I know I have a block? So could you please give us some answers about how do people assess that they have a hidden block?
So usually you have a sense that something is stuck. So you've got a feeling of something stuck. It could be a pattern that has been going on for quite some time, or you always end up back at the same place. It could be just a general feeling that you have, like an energetic feeling. So I had a client who just had the feeling of pain in his shoulders. Sometimes you could just feel it energetically in your body.
Yeah.
Or you can just look at an area where you're stuck, and if there's an area where you're stuck and you've been working that area for quite some time, then it's very likely there's a hidden block there. I would presume there is a hidden block.
So what type of
And
areas?
then in terms of the level, so
Yeah.
the great thing about Theta is it works at different levels. So the source of our blocks are essentially beliefs, limiting beliefs. Some of them are conscious beliefs, like things that make sense. Some of them make no sense at all. So some of them could be like, some of the weird ones are from past lives or just the nature of your existence. So some of these are quite deep, and they work at different levels. They could have originated as a limiting belief. So we're programmed from birth essentially. So it could be from this lifetime, and so essentially then we're looking at basically removing the negative programs or the limiting programs or beliefs that you've had from this lifetime. So that's the first. Then there's from your ancestry. So a lot of our behaviors get passed down through our DNA, so for our genetic lineage. So you'll have beliefs from those that get passed down. Then from our culture and the areas that we live in. So parts of what. So for me, being in England, there's certain cultural blocks that I might have as someone from England or wherever you're from.
Yeah.
And some of these are. So when I say cultural, that includes societal. Could be if you're in a country which was hit by a famine, or if you're a victim of communism, or a very religious country. Like there's lots of different cultural blocks that we inherit. And then from the soul, we have soul level beliefs, and these are things that you've carried through quite a few lifetimes. So these are soul contracts, could be vows,
Yes.
curses, even.
Yeah.
So those are the four. I would say the four domains of beliefs or blockages.
Yeah. I've also, when I did a little bit of research, and I tried not to do too much research because I really wanted to go into this interview as a layman and not ask too many technical questions, so that we could keep it really, what is it, accessible for everybody. There's also something about DNA. Could you explain that a little bit?
About what? Sorry, say it again.
DNA. I also read
DNA.
DNA. Yeah, the healing could also be
DNA.
at any level.
Yeah. So, oh, that's quite complex. So it's really energy impacts your DNA. So they've done studies where they've shown people have raised their vibration via meditation and caused epigenetic shifts in their DNA.
Yes.
So genes get switched on and off. So DNA is essentially changed by energy and information. So that's on the simplest level. Can we structure our DNA? That's what we believe in Theta, that you can activate certain genes which you can awaken different genes in your DNA, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. So what I would love to know is, we talked about a case study of one of your clients, the people that you've worked with, and of course, honoring the anonymity of this person. Could you tell us a little bit about the so-called, what we would almost think, miraculous changes that happened after the Theta healing? Because when you told me, I was like, wow. So could you share with us? Yeah.
Yes, I worked with a client recently. We had one session, and he was feeling quite burdened by just lots of responsibilities, essentially. It was like he was moving forward, but he felt at the same time he was being held back. It was almost, and when he described it, it was like there was some energetic cords holding him back, so just preventing him from fully being unleashed. And so in the session, we actually examined the energy of it. And so one of the things you do is you can tune into the energy and get more information about it and see where it comes from, and then you can test where it comes from as well. So when we were testing, we realized it was an ancestral pattern, and it was basically that his ancestors he had to look after people around him. So he had a lot of responsibility from an early age due to family tragedy, and so basically spent his whole life looking after people, and he just had this real sense of having to take care of everyone, which was basically very overwhelming. So we found out it was ancestral. When we removed it, like the whole the whole energy in the back was released, and he felt lighter. And generally, most people feel lighter after a session. Sometimes I get communication from the ancestors, so I can pick up some of the things that are there. So he got a few messages just around being free and going on and living your life. So then a month later, some miraculous things had changed. So there were three main things that he was dealing with. So one was, I need to protect anonymity now, so how do I do this? So one was a relationship, someone from a previous relationship been hanging around for ages, and they always wanted something. What's the other one? So a relationship that was kind of dragging him down broke up, and another source, he had another financial responsibility, which basically kind of fell away as well. So all the responsibility he was carrying, which was three main things, just completely disappeared. So that's how miraculously things shift. So basically, he lost a financial responsibility, lost a relationship, which was holding him back.
Yeah.
And but so I think be careful what you wish for. But I think it was for the best. Everything is for the highest good when you do it. So yeah.
So from the research that I've done, from the testimonials of mostly the practitioners that decide to do this for their whole life, a lot of them came to this work coming from a lot of like traumatic physical ailments. We're talking about, like doctors couldn't help them. They were in antibiotics, they were in hospitals. And then, because if we ever claim instant healings, I really want to see amazing testimonials. And what I saw, from the research that I've done, haven't read the book yet, is that these things could almost be, they were instant healings. Like we're talking about 1 session, 2 sessions, people doing a course and actually miraculously being healed, to the extent that actually there's a lot of doctors and physicians doing theta healing.
Yeah.
Would you say that actually almost every physical ailment has a psychological or spiritual component? Would you go as far to say that?
Yeah, I'd say most do. Yeah. And why do I say that? Because I think even just from a very basic level, a lot of illnesses that we have are due to stress, and we live in a very, very fast-paced society where there's a lot of stress. There are toxins, but the stress is the mental side that we can deal with, and the more stress you have, the more your body breaks down. So over time, you can you create disease. But also, I think just on a level, like we walk around as if healing is not possible. Like the body actually heals itself. You have a cut, the body heals itself over time. So, like to think that we can't heal for me is a bit bizarre, because the body, we're always healing.
No, but
and I think generally
that it heals in 1 day or after 1 session, after like 5 doctors, like being in the hospital for 2 months or 3 months. I mean, that is what that is the type, the duration between the healing and the basically the session and the healing is so quick compared to being at a doctor or in a hospital or using antibiotics, that I would say.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've had my own experiences of instant healing, like knee injuries, shoulder injuries, and they were just healed instantly, basically. So I definitely think it's possible. I haven't experienced it through Theta, but for me, it doesn't really matter about the modality. Like it's possible, and it doesn't always happen, but it does. It is possible. And it does happen. Yeah, I mean, I've had injuries that I've healed instantly. I've had injuries. I've had conditions that took 6 months to heal, but healing is definitely possible.
Yeah. Could you talk a little bit about creation and theta healing? Because what I understand now is that theta healing doesn't believe in victim, perpetrator. They actually believe that everything that comes to you is because of the energy and the information you carry around in your programs and your beliefs, whether it's ancestral, past life, soul, it doesn't really matter. But because we are programmed the way we are attracting, or we are bringing in certain events, circumstances, and people into our lives. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think the thing with, oops, sorry, our time is going, got a few minutes. Sorry, get distracted. So my belief is we are born with infinite potential, and this is actually pretty similar to what's with Theta. Like, we are conscious beings, and we're creating our reality. But as children, we're programmed with limits, essentially. So obviously we're taught good things, but we're also programmed with limits. So then when we're working on, I've forgotten the question fully, because so interrupt me if I haven't explained it properly. But essentially what we're doing is, with Theta, we're removing beliefs which no longer serve us.
Yeah.
And we're taught so many things. As men and women, we're taught different things. Like, for example, for myself, something I recently noticed is, as a man, it wasn't okay to express my emotions. And then I removed that belief, and then suddenly I felt able to express my emotions. So we have so many different areas where we're programmed. So the more you can release them, the more energy you have, and the more you can create. Essentially, we're always creating our experiences, but we're creating them from a programming that we picked up as children, or throughout our lives. And we will have the ability to create, we'll have the ability to manifest, but there's limitations to that. So I have been able to manifest from, I don't know, the first time I tried was probably my 20s. And sometimes it was very random, but I noticed the more I removed blocks, the more things would start to shift at that point in time.
Yeah, yeah. So in terms of creation, I know that when they talk about removing a block, they download
Yeah,
information.
yeah,
And you don't really have to know what the information is. Like, the divine or the creator just downloads the right information. Is that correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It helps to understand. So with theta healing, you understand what you are downloading, because your conscious mind is the barrier to the subconscious. So in order for it to be effective, you want to choose what you're downloading.
Yeah.
So we don't download everything. We just download what you want, or we release beliefs which don't serve you. But you know what's been released. When it comes to healing, then you're just requesting everything to be healed. So then you don't need to know, you have the intention to be healed, so that's what you're creating. And with Theta, we work with source energy, so it is coming directly, it's not going via the healer, it's going directly from source down into you.
Yeah. Yeah. Could you maybe look quickly at the questions that some of our
yeah
sent to me privately?
Okay.
And you don't know their names, but they do ask you some questions. Just feel free to answer those that you feel you can.
Okay, I'm just looking at them now. So how would a skeptic person benefit from working with energy? Good point. I think it's good to have healthy skepticism, but if you're completely I don't believe in, and I haven't had anyone who doesn't believe in anything, or doesn't believe in something that's greater than who we are. But if you do, I think the research is now starting to show that we have that energy exists. We have bioenergy. We have a human energy field. So I would just suggest doing a bit more research on that, and then just coming with an open mind. Like, you don't have to believe in anything, actually. As long as you're open-minded, then it will work. Like, when I first had my session, I thought, oh, this is strange. How does this work? I didn't really believe it worked. But I was open to it happening. So I think just having an open mind and being able to be with what's possible. Like, the work with Dr. Joe, he's doing a lot of work around demystifying the mystical, and a lot of scientists are doing that at the moment. So,
Yeah.
We are starting to have a better understanding of the nature of the universe and energy and all of that stuff. So there is new research coming out.
Yeah.
So you can go read that, or just have an open mind.
Yeah.
So that's that. So then, how do you verify that energy is real? it's always a tricky one because I mean, if I go back to when I found my own energy, so I read about chi, I read about prana, and I had a concept of them, but I didn't actually feel the energy. And then when I started going on courses around energy, then I knew it was real. And first, usually you start with either your imagination or just feeling the breath, but it's actually really about getting an awareness of what's going on in your body. And then when you develop your awareness of what's going in your body, which I think everyone should do, and I think it's part of who we are, then you know the energy is real. So when I'm doing a healing using Theta, as a recipient, you feel a subtle change. Sometimes it's very subtle, sometimes it's very profound shift in energy, so you can feel it. And sometimes you don't, but even if you don't, you still get the benefits. As the Theta practitioner, when I'm doing the healing, I can feel the energy. So I know it's real. And if you don't, if you're the receiver, you know, you'll start. The more you start to do it, the more you start to notice the energy. If you don't at first, so I would, yeah. So that's the way you verify that energy is real. You just notice your experience. Okay, cool. I think we covered most of these questions.
There was somebody who had a lot of pain. Did you receive that one on your WhatsApp?
Say that again, sorry.
This was somebody who had a lot of pain working on their chakras lately, and the more they worked on their chakras, the more pain they had. I don't know whether I sent it to you by WhatsApp. I copied it to you.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So pain. She says, I have pain in my left knee. It hurts to walk and even sit. I know it's metaphysical. It has to do with inflexibility, fear of moving forward. She's been doing reflexology, Reiki, EFT on it, but it's getting worse. Any ideas? Need to add that I've been doing a lot of work past couple of months clearing the chakras. Well, the best way obviously is to go and see someone, a practitioner, so about that. But so my view is that the pain that we have is a reflection of what's going on in your consciousness. So you as a person having the pain, when you get to a level, like, you'll know why it's there. So what is it that, what is it that your body is trying to tell you? If you're like, usually what's going on in our body is a reflection of what is going on in our consciousness. So I would just sit and try and tune in and tune into the body and see what it's saying. And sometimes you'll get answers, sometimes it might be difficult. And if that's so, then I would, to be honest, it's just better to see a healer, actually. Because yeah, I could like if it's in the knee, there's a body of work about what each thing means, but ultimately that stuff is really useful, and it's good to start from that place. But ultimately, it gets to a very personal thing and into our looking at our beliefs. So see what you can get for yourself first of all, and if nothing is shifting, then I would go and see a healer. And I'm assuming you've seen a doctor as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be my answer to that. Book a session. I think that's a lot. Let me see.
Sorry.
So you did ask about manifestation. Did we answer that?
Yes, we did.
Okay, good. So how do I combine Theta healing with business coaching? Generally, I don't really put labels. The Theta healing business coach is in the marketing, but when you sit down with someone, you just know what to do and what works. So the Theta would generally be around the coaching. The coaching is, let's move forward. The Theta is like, what is holding you back? Let's release those blockages. So the Theta is used to accelerate the coaching, essentially. But in each session, you do whatever comes up for you and whatever works. Any other questions? Let's look.
If you don't have questions anymore, I have one question.
Yeah, sure. That's it. Okay, ask me.
How would you describe the main difference between Theta healing and all these other thousands of modalities? I mean, that we've studied.
Yeah. I don't know all of the 1,000 modalities. So you can do the healing in several ways. You can do it through your body. So you can use your own energy field and heal someone. So that's like Reiki and the body mirror system of healing. You can use like angels and other beings to help you. Or you can use your own mind as well.
Mm-hmm.
So working with your beliefs. So the difference with Theta is basically connecting to source. So the creator, the source, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. And the healing doesn't go through the healer. Like I'm not doing the healing. I'm just requesting source to do the healing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm doing with the client is actually looking for the beliefs, because it's the beliefs that I'm looking to heal. So my work is to distinguish the beliefs, but then I'm not doing the actual healing and releasing those. I'm asking the universe to do that.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's the difference.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's some great healing modalities. And I think my personal view is like as a healer, you shift. Like you start with one modality and then you just shift and you move to what works. So for me, this works very well for beliefs, in my view, and working with the mind and the emotions.
Yeah, yeah. What would people have a very good healing even if working long distance, for instance over Skype? Because I
Oh
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of my sessions were done via Skype, and it doesn't. I don't think it makes a difference at all. Actually, it's pretty much the same. I mean, with distance healing in quantum physics, we say that everything is connected, so distance doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. I know for a fact that long distance healings work, and that I can actually pick up things even if you don't tell me anything. I'll actually know where a block is, or where you have pain, or where a doctor needs to actually look further into your body. These are just things that we can connect to as healers, and
Yeah.
that's the reason why people, if you feel you would like to talk to Daniel, that you can contact him just because he's in the UK. So do feel free to contact Daniel with any questions, and maybe even to experience one of his sessions. I definitely benefited from it, and we're going to do some experiments as well, Daniel and I, because we're going to do
Yes.
an extra special about actually theta healing, and would I call it soulmates or just relationships, Daniel?
Let's say relationships. Yeah.
Relationships. Okay. Yeah.
Attracting the one or ones.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll announce another time for that. But thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Daniel, is there something that I should have asked you that people should know about? I didn't ask you.
No, I think the details will be in this at the end of the video, right? So I'm on Facebook. I'm contactable. I'm going to be doing a live workshop at some point in March. So
You designed it
you can
already.
contact me.
You designed that workshop already. You told me about it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm just sorting it out to announce it, but it'll be in March.
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for your time, Daniel. And
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
yeah, feel free to contact him
Thanks
for
so much.
questions, or to even, just ask about his workshops or whatever. Is it a quantum? Is it a theta healing workshop? Is it more like a generic workshop incorporating all of your knowledge?
Oh, so actually, this is going to be on ancestral clearing. So one of the things I've been interested in, and yeah, I'm using Theta, is clearing the karma from our ancestors. And I think it's important now, especially with what's going on in the world. I think a lot of the things that are happening now are ancestral patterns that are resurfacing.
Yeah.
I'm using Theta healing, but I'm specifically focusing on clearing karma from our ancestors in this workshop that's coming up.
And is this only in London, or is this online, this workshop?
This is a live one, so it's going to be in London. I haven't found a way to do it online yet, but if you want, I can do individual sessions online, but not group ones.
Oh, okay.
Not yet, anyway. I'm not like that.
we'll talk about that. Anything is possible. I've got
Yeah. Well, I probably could do a small group, like a Skype group, but
Zoom.
yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, a small group, like with a few people, that's possible. But not like not this. It wouldn't be the same number of people as a live event.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Thank you so
But that
much.
would be interesting. Yeah, let's talk about that.
We'll talk about it. Absolutely. Thank
Cool.
you so much, everybody, and feel free to
Thank
give me
you.
comments on the Facebook Live. We will also be uploading this on YouTube, and if you want to watch it
Yeah,
on,
how's the Facebook Live looking? I didn't see any. I can't see anything. I can't see the live thing.
yeah, everybody, lots of people are watching. Pavitra is there, or she was there.
Yay.
And some people with
Okay.
questions were there as well, and I'm sure lots of other
Cool.
people will watch the replay as well, because some of them are sleeping right now because it's
Oh yeah.
they're in Asia. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, Angelique.
Steve
Ciao.
and Anja and Teresa, Nicola, and Byron, and whoever I forgot. Okay, bye. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Speak to you soon. Bye.